How's it's going? Today is 17th of December, Tuesday, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the government's press releases. There are so many, and some of those press releases could have so much information that we're not necessarily be able to cover in 10 minutes. But let's stick with the format of 10 minutes, and perhaps we're going to do more catching up tomorrow. We're going to be taking a look at perhaps six or perhaps five different articles, right? First one, that would be UK statement in response to BBC's suspension in Niger. 16th of December, that would be yesterday. The UK has issued a statement in response to suspension in Niger. We are deeply concerned about the temporary suspension of BBC and all other media outlets. Okay, so perhaps not necessarily just the BBC. Have BBC done anything? Have BBC and all other outlets suspend some of the broadcasters from the UK about 4 months ago. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I believe that channel is not longer available for anyone. It's a lot of things happening, right? Let's take a look at the next article. Let's take a look at the next article. That the government buys back more than 36,347 military homes to improve housing for forces, families, and all, save taxpayers billions. Okay, there's a lot, so much information perhaps where they would go a lot into detail with everything what's happening. I don't know prices, how much it will cost for military or taxpayers, right? So taxpayers would pay everything, right? And that would be under military supervision. When it comes to having access to some of the training facilities, nobody would be able to afford because some of those training facilities would be owned by military, by the way. And to have access for any business or no individual to have access to some of those facilities, they won't be able to afford what military is paying, by the way. So I don't know what's happening. Yeah, so if we're taking a look at fitness, very important when it comes to building teams, all these kind of areas. It should be worth mentioning, I guess, but a major deal to bring the armed forces housing estate back into public ownership has been agreed by the government. Training facilities, right? So who is getting benefit of not having access to those training facilities? Who is benefiting? I don't know. I'm just saying, if I take a look at housing, perhaps we can do it. People being more active as well, right? Anyway, landmark deal struck to bring military housing estate back into public hands. Major deal unlocks new building housing projects for military families plus essential refurbishments. Okay, okay. There was a lot of people sharing their concerns when it comes to perhaps condition in which some of those estates been, but I don't know. I don't know. There were some, but perhaps in certain regions, right? But anyway, and to huge annual rental bill to save around 230 million per year. Okay, okay. We were taking a look at how much electricity UK is purchasing every month. It was the 250 million a month. So that's 10% would be purchased from Europe. So perhaps just to put things into perspective. That would be billions of pounds will be saved by deal over next decade, delivering savings for taxpayers and enabling additional investments into homes for military families. Perhaps just as a reward system, that could be something that would be given. I don't know, perhaps that would be important, perhaps addressing a need of more military personnel. But anyway, the landmark move reserves a sale undertaken by the government in 1996. Defense Secretary describes today's announcement as a decisive break with the failed approach of the past, which will enable the first step to take to fix long-term decline in housing for military families and or deliver homes fit for heroes. He will also commit to using a deal to help achieve the government's milestones on kickstarting economic growth and or boosting house buildings across the country. Today's deal will bring end to an era of agreements which has seen the taxpayer spending billions of pounds on the rental payments for military houses while still being liable for rising maintenance costs and or handing back billions of pounds worth of military properties. Under the agreement, the Ministry of Defense will buy back more than 36,000 houses, making major redevelopment only improvement possible. The deal is part of the government's drive to boost military morale, tackle recruitment, which would be one of the critical areas, as well as and the attention of challenges renew the nation's contract with those who serve. MOD, supported by the UK's government investment and all, Anicton have formally agreed with the Ministry of Defense will require the service family's estate sold in 1996, which is now valued at 10.1 billion, then not subject to lease, and it's being purchased for, would that be close to 6 billion, representing excellent value for money. Sure, let's close at this part. Right? The entire subject will be very important, and I don't know details of this contract. It's good that the government is doing something. Let's progress. Let's take a look at next article. That the UK sets out next steps to help the carbonized aviation sector, having your say on the proposed to improve the global agreement, International Aviation Carbon Offsetting Scheme, CORSA in the UK. Okay. We were taking a look at previously that potentially the entire sector can create 10,000 jobs roughly. And as of now, based on the information that I managed to find, UK is purchasing this kind of fuel instead of perhaps manufacturing this fuel themselves. But anyway, it would be kind of important, I guess. There might be alternatives, so many alternatives in the market, hard to do it. But anyway, UK's government helps to tackle climate impacts on flying by pressing forward with a global carbon offsetting scheme. New consultations will move forward UK's implementations of landmark international scheme, helping address aviation's impact on the planet whilst keeping airlines costs down, help support government's plan for change to make Britain a clean energy superpower as we accelerate to net zero and deliver our mission for growth. I don't know if it's not a waste of would that be taxpayers' money? I'm kind of interested in understanding how we're planning on doing it. If we're gonna pursue alternatives, or we're gonna still be looking to what Germany's automotive industry was taking a look at. Then it perhaps waste of everyone's time. But anyway, just briefly, right before progressing to the next article, the government is inviting public feedback on adoption of global carbon offset scheme to reduce climate impact on flying as part of the consultation launched today. That would be yesterday's date. Great, but many people can voice their concerns when it comes to perhaps how to solve some of the challenges within the sector. I don't know. Who knows what's the perfect solution might be. But anyway, the proposal outline options for how the UK will implement UN's global carbon offsetting annual reduction scheme for international aviation, overseen by UN Specialist Aviation Agency and International Civil Aviation Organization. Okay. I have never seen this particular organization, but anyway, this priority pioneering scheme requires airlines to offset carbon dioxide (CAT) emissions on international routes. This will be achieved by supporting initiatives such as switching to renewable energy sources. Okay, that's great. We're making progress. This is perhaps the way how to do it, but not necessarily what we were taking a look at previously. For example, solar grid installations and all, for the stations and all projects. Great. So far, this particular sentence, perfect. The consultation includes proposals for how this scheme will be regulated in the UK, including penalties for non-compliance. Okay, great. Perhaps some people might be interested in engaging. I don't know this organization, so I don't know if I can promote the Corsia, that's the name organization. I have never seen this organization before. It might be not necessarily within the UK, and they might be just interested in having consultations. So I haven't opened yet, right? So, but before you do anything, do your own research, right? Let's progress. Let's take a look at the next article. We're gonna begin reading this press release, but they might be doing something, but they might not be doing it properly, so I'm not entirely sure if it's worth to read. Can they mine remotely? Can we accomplish that? In other governments, perhaps in Australia, there are some companies who can do it remotely, right? Since we're taking a look at incidents, right? So if operators are operating heavy equipment remotely, perhaps incidents can be spilling coffee on themselves. I don't know. Once that been said, the all industry should move where people would be able to have Wi-Fi connection and operate some of that equipment remotely. So that's where things should be. If this article is taking a look at incidents, I don't know if it's properly been recognized where things should be and what things are being done right now. But anyway, the Mining Implementation Authority partners will ask Nottingham colleges to run mock emergency. In the unique partnership blending education and public services, the Mining Remediation Authority has teamed up with OK Let's Progress study to deliver a critical incident training. Students from let's keep some of these names right. Recently played the role of members of the public during the mock emergency scenario, creating a realistic environment for our teams to practice incidents, contact center response procedures. The students took on diverse roles from concerned residents to elected members, challenging incident contact center staff and the things that they feel during a simulated mine water flooding incident testing, their supporting resource and all training. Okay, we're wasting everyone's time. That's what I mean. Some people out there have way too much time on their hands. Let's progress. Let's take a look at the next article. Let's take a look at the next article. That will be skills for growth top agenda for business leaders and our government. Education Secretary and our Business Secretary hosts call with business leaders from a range of key sectors to outline how plan for change will deliver for them. That will be the government will enlist the help of business to help it develop skills opportunities to meet the government's mission to kickstart economic growth under the plan for change. There might be some names said today, 16th of December, that will be yesterday's date. In the conference call with leaders from over 80 businesses, including OK Let's Progress without any of those. Both ministers set out the priorities for reform, fragmented and post-16 skills systems and or establishing Skills England to support key sectors driving growth for local areas. That will be if they would build a system remotely and or theory, right? So they would be software solution where people would be able to learn something and implement straight away. They could repeat the same course as many times without need of a person or school teacher being there and complaining about how little the school teachers are getting paid, right? So the entire course can be designed, and there might be someone from administrational staff who would be part of a feedback system, quote unquote, right? But I'm making it sound a lot simpler, perhaps, but at least it wouldn't be such a waste of money. Once that has been said, following the Department for Education announcement that the government has launched 140 million of funding from industry, including 100 million from National Housing Building Council to set up 32 home building skill hubs. This will make more than 5,000 apprenticeships places available per year in the key construction roles, right? Would that be enough to build an entire system? 140 million? that's what I guess. I don't know. Great. School teachers are complaining about how much they're getting paid, but we can automate the entire system. I don't need those school teachers being there. But again, let's take a look at last article. That's with Devolution Revolution. It's something that we were taking a look at yesterday. That will be forges ahead with more powers for mayors. I have read so many documents yesterday. Yeah, it seems that there is a tier system depending on perhaps what local communities might need within the tier system, since some of the systems can be very complex. Most likely it's not being discussed, but it's something that I have read yesterday, right? Let's say logistics. Some of those, based on the tier system, higher tier council might still oversee logistical systems, just so it would function properly, right? As well, it might require a lot of people, right? Making sure that buses, trains, planes, all these kind of things are being delivered on time, right? All these kind of great things. Draft of new powers will enable majors to drive economic growth, raise living standards, and deliver better services across England. Majors will get unprecedented powers to drive growth through charge house buildings and improve transport in a transformative revolution. Okay, sure. Setting out this plan to give those skills in the game skin in the game. I don't like the definition, but anyway, I don't know. It's a basketball. I don't know what they're referring to. The tools they need to make a difference. The government published English devolution white paper today, 16th of December, that will be yesterday. It puts England's region centrist states in the government's plan for change mission for growth economy, delivering a 1.5 million homes and infrastructure. We need to boost opportunities across the country. Under proposed set of the white papers, majors will take more direct roles and plan for the areas than ever before, equipped with a range of new powers across the strategic planning, housing, transport, and skills. Transport, as I mentioned, depending on the tier system, right? Some of the documents that I have read yesterday, and they will be handed the tools they need to deliver an ambitious plan for change in their regions. There are many locations mentioned. Let's give without names of those locations. I want putting anyone on the spot, right? Be the first to receive the new integrated funding settlement covering housing, regeneration, local growth, transport skills, retrofitting, and employment support. The white paper lays out ambitious new devolution framework, hardwiring majors into fabric of government in a new deal for local people, giving communities proper say over their own futures. I don't know. This is perhaps how it should function on. At least ideally, this is how it should be. Not necessarily that it will, by the way. But anyway, it also sets out a strong preference to see majors in place across the whole of England, making the full status of regions across England. The evolution is tried and tested model for delivering accountability and economic growth, but devolution in England lags behind other development nations. I not necessarily agree with this statement. I think that all the nations are presented in very shiny paper. I don't know. The English devolution bill will expected next year will change this, with 2 new majors and 6 non-major devolution agreements confirmed since summer. Devolution will now be extended and deepen across England, giving all communities an opportunity to take back control. The government's ambitions are shared by communities across the country, and it will shortly set out the devolution priority program aiming to deliver inaugurate major selections in May 2006. The government has had productive discussion with okay, let's keep all those locations and all others will confirming the places on the priority program And I don't know, but perhaps it's gonna let's try it. I don't mind. Let's try it. Let's see. Let's try it and see. Let's close on that. I'm happy to see that government is doing something, as well as perhaps creating those opportunities perhaps for younger people. How I say that I believe would be important, in particular when we are taking a look at technology. Let me say, if discussion would take place when it comes to technology with someone who is 70 or 80, it's very hard to explain. Just saying, right? Other than that, perhaps when it comes to relationships and all long-term goals, having that person there who is 80 or 90 would be very important. Thinking long-term, right? Not necessarily a 20-year-old making this kind of decisions. Anyway, let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.